Hi, Dika, how are you?
I'm fine. Nice to meet you here.
Yeah, nice to meet you online, but nicer to meet you face to face.
I hope so. Okay, we still have 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
Dr. Warabon Prichapon, how are you?
Okay, I'm fine.
Nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you, madam.
He is in Penang now?
Yes, still in Penang.
Yeah. Do you work from home or you are in office?
In office. Today they have some meeting in the office.
I am working from home because now the default mode in Singapore is work from home.
Actually, the director would like the staff to working at home, but today they have the program of the for meeting, so that they call everyone came for the certain time only.
Oh, okay. Wait, this thing dropped.
Okay, dear ladies and gentlemen, we will start the session of this international seminar, Mathematics Learning Innovation in the new normal era. Please, okay, thank you. Okay, dear ladies and gentlemen, we will have 3 keynote speakers with exciting topics this afternoon. And for the next keynote speakers, we will be Dr. Cynthia Seto from Singapore, and her session will be led by Dr. Warabon Prichapon from Simeo Rexam, Malaysia. Okay, dear ladies and gentlemen, let me inform you the short biography of Dr. Warabon Prichapon. Dr. Warabon Prichapon is a mathematics education specialist from Southeast Asian Minister of Education Organization, Regional Center for Education in Science Mathematics, Simeo Rexam. She holds a doctorate degree in computational science from Walailak University, Thailand. She has 26 years of experience as a secondary school mathematics teacher in Nakhon Sitamarat, Southern Thailand. She was attached to the Research and Development Division Rexam, where she was involved in research project, a survey on teachers' use of the Geometric Sketchpad or GSP in Malaysian secondary school. She is currently in the Training Program Division Rexam, where she has facilitated and supervised the training courses for educators from the Simeo member countries from the African continent, and the Colombo Plan member countries. She has chaired and presented papers at international conferences. Her interests are in dynamic mathematics software or GeoGebra, computational thinking, and coding with Scratch, lesson study, universal harmonious values integration with problem-based learning, the 4 core areas or PBL4C, and mathematical explorations through paper folding and the 3D straw models. Well, ladies and gentlemen and dear participants, to start the agenda, I call Dr. Warabon to chair the session of Dr. Cynthia Seto. Dr. Warabon, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, Miss Dika.
Yeah.
A very good afternoon, Center Director Simeo Kitab, Miss Dika, and everyone at Simeo Kitab in Mathematics, Simeo Secretariat, esteemed keynote speakers, mathematics teacher, mathematics educators and enthusiasts in Southeast Asia and beyond. We are happy to welcome all the participants to the international seminar on the theme, Mathematics Learning Innovation in the New Normal Era. The COVID-19 pandemic that we are facing with was devastating impact in various fields. Education in particular. The pandemic had forced many of us to confront the reality of remote distance learning that spread to all countries without prior preparation. A lot of learning had been disrupted, and disruption doesn't mean unnecessarily mean no learning. Educators, school leaders, and teachers across the globe realized that there was no time to lose, and thus they work very hard, trying out all forms of alternative strategies to ensure that the learning did not suffer during the unusual circumstances. Within begin imperative for the educators to explore alternate to face-to-face classes. Last year, many of us were quite afraid, or perhaps rather cautious, to navigate an unfamiliar and enchanted territories marked by technology and online processes. As Albert Einstein, who received Nobel Prize in Physics, had uttered these words, "In the middle of difficulty lie opportunity." However, the teacher in many countries would be making the great shift from face-to-face classroom to online platforms. We are going to learn from eminent speakers. How do we use innovation effectively to ensure that the learning continue and our students are able to achieve outcomes that they design and that we design for them? Today, we are happy to bring you an eminent speaker, Dr. Cynthia Seta. She is a principal master teacher mathematics at the Academy of Singapore Teachers with more than 40 years of teaching experience with student age 7 to 14. As a principal master teacher, Dr. Cynthia leads a team of mathematics master teachers to spearhead curricula and pedagogical initiatives to shape the way mathematics is taught and learned in schools. Dr. Cynthia's research interests are metacognition, classroom learning environment, constructivist pedagogy, mathematics teacher noticing, and professional development of teachers. And she had presented several papers on these topics. Such that on this topic at international conferences. And also she also contributes to the advancement of mathematics education in Southeast Asia as a member of Singapore Governing Board member of SIMEO Regional Center in Mathematics. So in this session, she will share with us how we can maintain quality instruction for strengthened teaching and learning on the more even during challenging times. She will share her experiences that we can use to enhance online teaching. I know we are all excited to listen to our keynote speaker already, but before that, I would like to take away your eyes to the protocol. The number one, each keynote speaker will present for 40 minutes and followed by 20 minutes Q&A. And in the Q&A session, participants may leave their question on the Q&A quiz feature in Zoom, and then select one participant will be given a chance to ask question directly, and the audience can raise your hand for question. Without further delay, please join me in welcoming Dr. Cynthia, who will help us reflect upon important ideas on effective mathematics teaching in the era of new normal. Dr. Cynthia, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Warabond. Okay, I will share my screen first. Okay, are you able to see my
yes, very
slide?
clear.
Okay, good afternoon, educators from Indonesia and the neighboring countries. I'm Cynthia, Principal Master Teacher, Mathematics from the Academy of Singapore Teachers. My sincere thanks to SEAKIM for the opportunity to present a keynote to share our teaching experiences in the era of the new normal with fellow mathematics educators. Here is an outline of my presentation. To set the context, I will provide an overview of what mathematics teaching looks like during pre-COVID days. This will be followed by a presentation of how teachers mitigate challenges faced during home-based learning. Two key points that surface are the needs to rethink instructions and redefine roles. I will end my keynote with an elaboration on blended learning in the Singapore context. Mathematics underpins many aspects of our everyday activities, from making sense of information around us to making informed decisions about personal finances. The learning of mathematics provides an excellent vehicle to train the mind and to develop the capacity to think logically, abstractly, critically, and creatively. These are important 21st century competencies that we must imbue in our students so that they can participate and strive in the future economy. The broad aims of mathematics education in Singapore are to enable our students acquire and apply mathematical concepts and skills, develop metacognitive and cognitive skills through a mathematical approach to problem solving, and develop positive attitudes towards mathematics. The central focus of the Singapore mathematics curriculum is the development of mathematical problem-solving competency. Supporting this focus are 5 interrelated components: skills, concepts, processes, metacognition, and attitudes. Teachers use a variety of problems in our lessons. They may come from everyday contexts or future work situations, in other areas of study, or within mathematics itself. They include straightforward and routine tasks that require selection and application of appropriate concepts and skills, as well as complex and non-routine tasks that requires deeper insight, logical reasoning, and creative thinking. To implement the mathematics curriculum, 3 pedagogical approaches: direct instructions, activity-based learning, and teacher-directed inquiry form the spine that support most of the mathematics teaching in our classroom. They are not mutually exclusive and could be used in different parts of a lesson or unit. The overarching pedagogical approach is to foster learning of mathematics with conceptual understanding. Assessment is integral to the teaching and learning process and helps children become self-directed learners. At the primary levels, the concrete pictorial abstract approach is extensively used to support students to learn mathematics meaningfully. Working in groups is a typical feature of a mathematics lesson. On the left of this slide, you see students working in small groups to explore the concepts of composite figures using manipulatives. On the right, the students are in pairs playing a card game to practice the multiplication facts. How was the learning of mathematics changed when COVID suddenly hit us in 2020? The second segment of my keynote presents how we tried to realize effective mathematics teaching during home-based learning by rethinking instruction and redefining roles. Here is the timeline of our school's response to the pandemic. All Singapore schools embarked on distant learning in the form of full home-based learning, in short, HBL, on 8th of April 2020. This year, we went into full HBL again from 19 to 28th of May. This was to safeguard the well-being of students, teachers, and stakeholders in light of the pandemic, while ensuring continuation of meaningful learning for students. I'm going to show you a video on how a mathematics teacher tried to teach the concept of area of a triangle during HBL. In this video, she shared the challenges faced and her attempts to engage students to be active learners by harnessing the affordances of technology. In Singapore, we have an online portal, Student Learning Space, in short, SLS, for all students. We will watch the video now.
I was still trying to figure out the functions and affordances of SLS when the COVID-19 situation struck, and I was thrown into a whirlpool of ICT tools beyond SLS. During the circuit breaker, I had to prepare lessons to teach the concept of area of triangles for my primary 5 and 24-hour clock for my primary 4. At the beginning, I used mainly YouTube videos, but I was soon confronted with two big issues.
The first issue I had was on having students as active learners. I wanted to convey some teaching points that were not available in the existing range of YouTube videos. And in addition, I don't quite like the passive nature of learning with YouTube videos. I wanted my students to take on a more active role in constructing their learning. So I made my own teaching videos for the concept of relating the area of triangles to their related or corresponding rectangles. So I harnessed the affordance of animation in PowerPoint presentation to show the connections between area of triangles and their related rectangles. I shall now provide an example on the right-angled triangle.
Now take a look at triangle B. What kind of triangle is this? Can you locate the right angle? Now what is its base? How long is this base? It's 6 units. What about the height of the triangle? How long is this height? It's 8 units. Now, calculate the area of this triangle B. Now, if we relate the rectangle, the triangle A and triangle B, see what happens. I'm putting triangle A into the rectangle. I'm also putting triangle B into the rectangle. What do you observe? What about the height of triangle A? How is it related to the rectangle? Yes, the height of triangle A is the length of the rectangle. So how many times is the area of triangle A in relation to the area of rectangle?
Self-made video allowed me to insert suitable questions along the way to guide the students step by step into seeing the relationship between the two triangles and the rectangle.
I was still trying.
From the video, you could see the need for task design and use of questions to facilitate students to learn the concept of area of a triangle on their own. This calls for teachers to rethink their instructions and redefine roles of teachers and students. From the pictures on the left, during normal days, teachers conduct their lessons comfortably using direct instructions, interweave with group work and technology. However, from the pictures on the right, during HBL, teachers realize little things, such as the availability of a whiteboard to show their explanations became a challenge. Some teachers resorted to makeshift whiteboards using butcher papers placed on the walls of their rooms. Some teachers told me that they felt strange looking at students on screen rather than having them physically in a classroom. Motivating students to learn mathematics during HBL was pretty challenging. Teachers tried to mitigate these challenges by making mathematics learning meaningful and joyful. As shown on this slide, various objects found in student home were used for activity-based learning. Teachers also leverage real-life situations, especially those related to the pandemic, to help students see the relevance of mathematics. For example, odd and even numbers were used for entry into 4 popular markets in Singapore during circuit breaker period. By linking lesson to real-life situation, students appreciate the application of odd and even numbers as a safe distancing measure to control the spread of COVID. Such activity-based learning is not restricted to real-life situation or home objects. ICT tools such as GeoGebra and virtual manipulatives were harnessed by teachers to support students' inquiry. Referring to the picture on the right, students use GeoGebra to explore the sum of angles on a straight line through a series of guided questions that accompanied this activity, which was loaded in the learning portal. As both teachers and students became more familiar and confident with the nuts and bolts of HBL, they began to integrate opportunities for collaboration using tools such as Google Sheet, interactive tools, and Padlet. Although there were some limitations to such virtual collaborations, it provided some social and emotional respite to being cooped up at home. To provide feedback, Teachers anticipated possible questions and misconceptions students might have and pre-input prompts and hints in learning platforms to address learning needs. Most learning platforms generate students' performances instantly via heat map and class reports. Others allow teachers to input comments and feedback in the form of annotations. In classes where such asynchronous feedback was insufficient, teachers made use of synchronous sessions via Zoom or Google Meet to remediate students' learning in one-to-one or small group format. Despite the challenges and initial steep learning, teachers strived to rethink instruction as shown in this table. I'll give you a short while to look through this slide. They tried to bring back as much normalcy as possible by crafting and designing quality learning experiences for our students. They tapped on varied affordances of technology and innovated resourcefully with home materials such that experiential, inquiry, and joyful learning were not compromised. So how about the roles of teacher? I believe this illustration does not portray the numerous roles of a teacher. For the purpose of explanation, I shall use this very simple and basic illustration to define the role of a teacher on normal days. As educators, we impart knowledge through carefully designed tasks to scaffold knowledge constructions. We also reach out to students' social and emotional needs in our course of interactions with them. That means teachers look into the cognitive domain as well as the social emotional domain. Teachers' physical presence is restricted in HBL. But given its importance, we reimagine teachers' presence by utilizing multiple sources of proxies, such as teachers' voices, parents or siblings, and technology to mediate student learning. During HBL, teacher-student synergy was altered. On the left, whether it is a synchronous or asynchronous platform, the social and emotional domain of the students is greatly reduced or removed. It is not easy for teachers to notice students' facial expressions to connect with them accordingly. On the right, tasks and learning experiences are mediated by the ICT platform. At the center, a third domain requiring teachers' attention arose, the technical operational domain. Teachers have to assist students to troubleshoot problems and solve technical issues. What about changes in students' roles? Students could only connect virtually with their teacher or peers. The lack of physical presence leads to a reduced level of social interactions. Hence, the social emotional domain of the students is greatly reduced or absent. Students also need to navigate the ICT platform on their own. In sum, effective mathematics teaching in the era of new normal calls for teachers to change their role from providers of knowledge to designers and facilitators of learning. For the students, it is from being directed and driven by teacher to being a self-directed and independent learner. COVID-19 has made it even more imperative for us to build on the progress made by our students during HBL. The last segment is on our ideas about blended learning, which will be a key feature of the schooling experience to further develop our students' ability to be self-directed, passionate, and lifelong learners. HBL has shown that it has powerful potential for developing these competencies in our students: self-directedness and independence, as well as self-discipline and self-management. At the same time, HBL cannot be a substitute for physical in-person schooling because learning is a social activity, allowing the development of social-emotional learning. In view of this, we can reconceive our education system by incorporating the best of home-based learning and in-person schooling to form blended learning as a regular part of schooling. There are many definitions of blended learning. In Singapore context, blended learning is a mix of home-based and in-school activities that taps both online and offline approaches to learning. Our ministry concept of blended learning is broader than the traditional understanding of blended learning. For instance, other than having student learning taking place in school and at home, teachers can also consider blending between structured and unstructured learning, where sometimes students follow a prescribed timetable and program, and at other times, they can initiate their own learning activities. Asynchronous and synchronous learning, where students learn at different times at their own pace on one hand, and they attend classes in real time to receive instruction on the other hand. Within curriculum and out of curriculum learning, to provide opportunities for students to learn from and beyond the formal curriculum. ICT-mediated and non-ICT mediated learning to design learning experiences that are mediated by technology and otherwise. Earlier, I spoke about the needs to rethink instructions and redefine roles for effective mathematics learning during HBL. Blended learning is a mix of home-based and in-school activities, expands this consideration across physical and virtual spaces. Effective mathematics teaching will require us to include these four other considerations. Who are our learners? What do we want them to learn? How do we know that they have learned? How do we want them to learn? Teachers need to know their learners, such as their psychological needs, interests, and learning profiles. Knowing their learners enables teachers to construct a positive learning environment to facilitate learning. When students integrate new mathematical concepts with their prior knowledge, they find mathematics meaningful and relevant. Knowing what students already know will help teachers connect students' learning to their prior knowledge and motivate teachers to enhance the skills students have already acquired. What are my options in assessing students' learning? How do I set students up to be reflective and self-regulated learners? Which plane of interactions? Is it class or group or individual that is most appropriate to provide feedback? What strategies do I need to apply to facilitate the learning? Some questions to guide the choice of strategies will be: how can I get every student to contribute to the learning? How can I empower my students and give them voice and choice? How can I get everyone to learn from one another? I will now exemplify the design considerations with a Primary 5 lesson on equivalent ratio. This lesson is contributed by a master teacher uploaded to SLS, our student learning space. What do we want our students to learn? Besides referring to the syllabus on what needs to be taught to the students, the teacher also considers the mathematical processes students could develop through this lesson. In this case, the teacher has identified mathematical communication and method cognition. For effective learning of the content, teachers need to organize the flow of the content and the flow of learning. This slide shows how student learning experiences is ordered to facilitate students to learn the concept of equivalent ratios. It starts with knowing students' readiness through a diagnostic quiz shown on the left, followed by activating learning through a recap on ratios. Students will then engage with a paint mixing problem, which promotes thinking and discussions. There are activities to monitor learning and provide feedback. At the end of the lesson, there's a game on ratios whereby students work with a partner. In activating prior knowledge of ratios, the affordances of technology is harnessed to provide immediate feedback to students. Feedback encourages students to self-correct and to consolidate their understanding of ratio before learning equivalent ratios. I will now play snippets of video as I explain how we want our students to learn. This activity allows students the choice to mix a tone of green color. For example, 5 cups of white paint with 10 cups of green paint. When a student has chosen his tone of green paint, a question is generated for him to answer. Technology is harnessed to provide both written and visual feedback. From the visual, a student can tell if the response matches the original tone of paint chosen. Each successive learning opportunity is built upon the previous learning experience. The questions are given with increasing difficulties and complexity. In this activity, students are required to explain their thinking for their answers. This promotes metacognitions and provides teachers with data on their student mastery of the concept. This video shows a teacher selecting and sequencing student work to use them as learning resources in the classroom for students to make connections and learn together when they meet again in the physical classroom. Now you see the teachers preparing the sequence of students' work to be shown in the classroom. For learning to flow seamlessly between home and school, learning data is used to better manage the transition. In this lesson, students were engaged in asynchronous learning at home. They complete self-paced diagnostic quiz with immediate feedback to review their concepts of ratio. Concepts of equivalent ratios were introduced through a mathematical task whereby they could interact with the digital manipulative. Feedback embedded in the task guide students towards the concept of equivalent ratio. With access to students' work, the teacher is empowered to build on students' misconception or mastery to consolidate the learning in school. Depending on the needs, the teacher may use other manipulatives to exemplify equivalent ratio or provide more detailed explanation of the concepts. Students need practice to achieve mastery. Besides supporting students to strengthen their understanding of concept, the activity in this video also provides teachers with information on students' learning. Depending on curriculum time, this activity can be done in the classroom or at home. All the responses can be captured in the SLS. So this will give an indication of the mastery level of the students. Who are my learners? Students love to play games. Okay, I'm going to show you this video, which is at the end of the lesson. This video shows opportunities provided for students to practice the heuristics of elimination and the concept of equivalent ratio. As the game requires a partner, It calls for accountability and helps to mitigate the lack of social emotional domain in a virtual environment. Therefore, it encourages social and emotional learning. If their partner does not turn up for this activity, the students will not be able to do this. So the students will normally call their friends to make sure that they remember to work on this activity. I hope this keynote has provided you with useful insights into how our teachers tried to provide effective mathematics teaching in the new normal. While the pandemic has presented challenges in our education, it has been an impetus to accelerate some of our national initiatives and the development of 21st century competencies in our students. I will conclude this keynote with a quote from our Minister of Education, Mr. Chan Chun Sing. He said, "Blended learning is not an optional, good to have. Blended learning is an opportunity we need to seize to teach our people to adapt flexibility amidst uncertainties." With this, I thank you. Okay, I will stop sharing. Sorry, I can't hear you, Dr. Wara.
Sorry, I unmuted. Sorry. Thank you very much, Dr. Cynthia. That's your presentation very useful and helpful for the mathematics classroom. Now we have the question from the floor for the participant ask the question. And I would like to share the question. Can you see the screen?
Okay, yes, I can. Okay, the question
from Elena, how teachers coordinate the students when learning online because the students feel they are not being watched directly by the teacher. Sometimes the teacher think the student cheating the teacher. Just log in and ignore. And the second question, why we are asking the students like giving apperception, but they didn't respond. Then the teacher changed those questions to the more simple language. And finally, the students respond the question. What should the teachers do to make them understand and catch their attention? So the two questions talking about mention about how can let the student pay attention during the online classes.
Okay, I think Elena's questions fundamentally ask for number one is that how do we monitor their learning, right? And number two is that how do we get their attention or sustain their attention, making sure that they pay attention in class. Okay, so remember in the video that I showed you just now, we try to get students to respond. So when the students are required to submit certain work, okay, that is an evidence that we have an idea what have they learned from the lesson. So from their responses which they require to submit, we will be able to tell whether have they gone to do their work or not. Because the login through the SLS, we have we know who are the students who log in or didn't log in. Okay, so the next question was that even if log in, they may not be paying attention. So that's where we try to, for example, towards the end, I show you a game whereby you may have some smaller group discussion or group work, whereby the peers will try to support one another. So the teachers really tried various ways. And in certain cases, we know that there are some students who still don't respond. Okay, some teachers even called up to talk to the students personally, okay, to highlight the importance of them being responsible for their own learning, or otherwise there will be a big gap when they go back to school. Okay, so I hope that answers your questions.
Thank you. We have one more question. To implement HBL, home-based learning, and blended learning, what are the obstacles, especially during this pandemic?
Dr. Wara, I think your slide didn't show the question.
I will show the question later on. Huh? I stopped sharing first and then.
The first part is that what are some of the challenges faced during HBL?
Sorry, I will show the question. Let me check the question first.
Okay.
Okay, now the next question. To implement the HBL and BL, what the obstacle, especially during this pandemic?
Okay. As I mentioned just now, during the what I call the home-based learning, I mean, last year when we first implement the home-based learning during circuit breaker, that was our first time. So the teachers did feedback that there were some challenges, such as availability of resources, which we all put what I call the teachers try to share. All right, so that there are more resources available that can be put online. Now, this year, we had our second home-based learning. Feedback from the teachers was that they don't face so many obstacles anymore because students are familiar as to what is expected. And then also because after the first round of HBL, when they go back to school, teachers impress upon the students the importance of being self-disciplined to manage your learning, the expectations, and therefore when you gather them, and teachers are also more proficient to have a blend of synchronous as well as asynchronous. You cannot every time give them activities that they can do independently online. You also need to have some time whereby say, okay, now we are meet, like for example, through Zoom. Teachers use Zoom or Google Meet so that we can see everybody's faces, and then the teachers will try to interact with them virtually, just like what I'm doing with you now. Although I cannot see everybody's face, but at least, okay, in a class of 30 to 40 students, okay, we'll try to call on people and interact with them. So these are some of the ways teachers try. Okay, the second round when they implement, it's a lot more smoother, okay, because teachers and students understand their role better now. Okay.
Thank you very much. And then maybe this and next one is the last question because of very time consuming.
Yeah, they're very good questions.
How can we help learners who are struggle with online learning in terms of self-management? Many of them are distracted by mobile games.
Okay. Teachers try to get the help of parents. Okay, because right now the teachers, even though when I'm participating in a Zoom meeting, you could be doing something else. All right. No doubt the teachers may know who are those persons that I need to call to try to engage them in conversations. There is still a tendency they may want to go into games or do something else. So that is where teachers also connect with parents or their siblings to get their support. Okay. So it's not a fully what I call fully problem solved, but we will try to impress upon the students the importance of self-management, self-discipline. That's why this has become very, very important, because in terms of home-based learning, they are left on their own. You need to have this ownership of learning and also to be self-disciplined. Okay, and this is part of growing up. So that's why we see that there is value in HBL. All right, no doubt it is a challenge, and yet if we can impress on students the importance of independent learning and being able to be self-disciplined, then it is also a opportunity for them to demonstrate that competency. Yeah, it's
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I agree with you. The responsibility for themselves is very important and very disciplined.
Yeah.
Okay.
Self-discipline. Yeah.
Self-discipline, very important to train the small kid from the small kid until they be the adult. So we have some more questions, but for this session, we would like to ask you personally, maybe can contact you through your email. Then would you mind paste your email in the chat box so that they can ask the question personally? So I would like to come to the conclusion of this session. In this session, actually mathematics is the most international of all curriculum subjects, and mathematical understanding influences decision-making that Dr. Cynthia mentioned at the beginning in all areas of life. And she also stated that the important ideas on conducting lesson online is not just simply about the equipped student with the necessary computer devices or replacing lesson with virtual talk and chalk lectures. There are issues that we're talking about the pedagogy to be addressed and need to redesign learning experience around technological affordances. She also pointed out the issue that we should consider, such as rethinking instructions and redefine roles, both teacher and student, for effective mathematics teaching in era of new normal, so that we are able to move towards a blended learning approach to help students develop the capacity of independent learning. So that she mentioned that the self-discipline also very important for train the student. Thank you very much, Dr. Cynthia. Then hope we will see you again. And also,
thank you everyone for your kind attention. You have very good questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I hope today's presentation benefit to the mathematics teacher, educators, and the parents also very important for involved in the during pandemic. Thanks again. Stay safe, stay healthy, and be present. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Cynthia Seto and Dr. Warabon. Thank you very much. Please give big applause.
Thank you, Miss Dika too.
You're welcome.
I would like to stop sharing.
Thank you very much. Okay, dear participants and well, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to the next our keynote speakers, Dr. Christoph Henifesi. He will be led by the moderator, Dr. Alongkot Maiduang. Okay, well, dear participants, let me read the short biography of Dr. Alongkot Maiduang. Dr. Alongkot Maiduang earned his bachelor degree in industrial engineering from Chulalongkorn University. However, due to his love of mathematics, he won a scholarship from IPST to pursue an MPhil degree in educational research mathematics at the University of Cambridge and PhD degree in educational research or mathematics at King's College London, United Kingdom. He has been working for IPST Thailand since 2004, specializing both in mathematics and STEM education. Okay, well, dear participants, now it's time to Dr. Alongkot Maiduang to lead the session of Dr. Christoph Henifesi.
Thank you very much,
Dr.
Dika.
Alongkot,
Yes,
the
you
time
hear
is
me?
yours. Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, thank you very much,
You're
Dika.
welcome.
And greetings to all the participants. My name is Dr. Alongkot Maiduang. As Dika has already introduced me, I'm from the IPST Thailand, the Institute for the Promotion of Teaching Science and Technology from the Secondary Mathematics Department. And I'm very pleased to be a moderator for this session, which is very interesting. It's a keynote address 2 on creative ecologies for the post-COVID era through STEAM education and hybrid learning by Dr. Christoph Henifesi. So first of all, let me introduce Dr. Christoph Henifesi. Dr. Christoph is a researcher of STEAM education, trans and multidisciplinary learning and contemporary cultural studies at the Finnish Institute for Educational Research, University of Jyväskylä, pardon me if I cannot pronounce it correctly, Finland. He is a member of the research group for innovative learning environments and the research group for education, assessment and learning. His main areas of research are mathematics and art connections in learning, STEAM education, inquiry-based, cooperative, playful, and experience-oriented approaches in mathematics education, problem solving in mathematics, in science and art education, connecting hands-on activities and digital modeling in mathematics, science, arts, and design education, science-arts connection, learning, phenomenon-based multi- and transdisciplinary learning and co-teaching, inter, cross, multi, and transdisciplinary management and transcurricular leadership in education, interdisciplinary aesthetic and philosophy. So during the session, if you have any question to Dr. Christoph, please type in the Q&A so we can collect the question and ask Dr. Christoph at the end of the talk. So Dr. Christoph, you have 40 minutes from now for your presentation. I give the floor to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alongkot Maiduang, for the really comprehensive introduction. So it looks like that, first of all, I need to change my biography, maybe a little bit less detailed. And also I can speed up first maybe 10 slides of mine to introduce my background. So thanks so much for the warm welcome. And I also would like to express my gratefulness for all the organizers of the conference, because I know that it's a critical time, even more than in some other situation during the COVID era in several countries which are contributing to this conference. So it's wonderful that you still keep strong and organize such meetings, because probably this kind of sharing of experiences, innovations and reflections are the most helpful to us to keep the hope alive, and also to provide to each other very urgent intervention support when it's needed. So I would like to express my gratefulness to Dr. Sumardi Yono and Farida Nur Hashana, Yoga Utama, and many of the Indonesian CMO Kitab team. I can't list now everybody, but I know that you made great efforts to be here today. So I just wanted to mention this before my talk. So if you allow me to share my screen, let me start my presentation. Here, I hope that you see the screen. So as I promised, I will speed up the first few slides because, dear professor, you made me really flattened today. So you heard the main facts, and actually, in addition to the university academic work, I'm also trying to be very active in outreach programs, and also as part of my academic work, of course. So experience-oriented mathematics education and these kind of events, which of course also needed to be transformed in very various ways during the COVID era, because you see that this tactile connection, hands-on working, and this physical community of the learners and teachers is really essential part of the collaborative problem solving. You can see in these slides about various creative problem solving events, STEAM events is very essential in our work. So that definitely set us a great challenge, but also then made to be able us to have new experiences, also that how technology can help or not in several situations. And my research background was also very nicely described. Thanks a lot for that. A few recent handbooks, publications, which you might want to consult if you are interested in STEAM, and which is the connection between science, technology, arts, and mathematics. So this acronym is about. And arts is, of course, is a very essential component here. I know that every of you are absolutely familiar and also masterfully implementing STEM programs, but I know that many of you are already also transitioned to STEAM or interested about STEAM. So these publications certainly provide some support, and also art and mathematics connections. This is my main focus in the STEAM research. So I really hope that it's also provide a nice fit to this conference when you discussing innovations in the context of also of mathematics education. So as it was really kindly mentioned, I work in the University of Jyväskylä in the Finnish Institute for Educational Research. And we have a research group called the Innovative Learning Environments. And when I mention innovative learning environments, it means not only the physical environment of learning, but also the mental environment of learning. We are really curious to see how we can help, how we can support those kind of learning processes where the well-being of the student and effective learning, but also the mental components of well-being and the physical components of well-being are supported through the learning process. And learning also leads the enhancement of these factors. So we definitely want to have happy learners, and not only efficient learners, but happily efficient or efficiently happy learners, to see in classrooms and also in informal environments of learning. So these are all these projects which are currently running by our own program, by our research group, is all focusing. So co-designing or digital development, digital competencies, and how teachers can work together, how they can cooperate in this STEAM context. These are very important, and also the framework for efficient and engaging hybrid education. And here comes also the joyful learning as an important connection point to all these investigations. And we are also eager to enhance cooperation between different STEAM programs all around the globe, especially in Europe, but also European programs connected to other programs. So we are really glad if you are connecting with us, and we try to work together to bring forward the STEAM approach in various intercontinental programs as well. If you are interested of some recent results, actually, which are very much connects also to the innovative aspects of this conference, I will share with you the link to this open access publication. As you can see, it's focusing more on STEM and less to STEAM. But the pedagogical approaches are very similar in both contexts. So I hope that you might find this publication also useful, and also the basis of potential cooperation. So some information about my university. This is a relatively old university in Finland, and this is famous about that this was the cradle of Finnish education in many ways. So our teacher seminary was the first which admitted women as future teachers, and we're really proud of this heritage. And still, education is one of our main focus in our academic work. You can see a little timeline of the university, and also some old pictures. And our campus is also famous about architecture, because if you are curious about European modernist architecture, so Alvar Aalto and his minimalist design, he designed the core campus. And it's definitely a unique place to visit, even in the winter, when you have the experience to dash into these snow hills if you want. So I really would like to invite you right after the pandemic. And I'm also very happy that I know that some Indonesian colleagues already planning their visit to us. So when you see in this slide the core topics of our academic research: basic natural phenomena and mathematical thinking, information and technology, and human in the knowledge society, culture, society, language, learning, teaching and interaction, physical activity, health, well-being, sustainable business and economics, you can see that these are those synergetic areas in our all academic research which need to be represented. And these are the connection points of the many branches inside the university. And you can see that lifelong learning was mentioned very well and very interestingly by Cynthia Leto in the previous talk. So we try to also connect with newer concepts of lifelong learning 4.0 or even 5.0 in these research areas. Okay, but what's happening now in Finland? So UNESCO chairs of our university are specialists of digital transformation and also open access learning to all. So these are two is combined in our UNESCO chair in the university. And according to their analysis, there are major changes in society, of course, like in many other societies. But in Finland, this career acceleration in time. So 1 to 5 years instead of 5 to 20 years, you know this well, even faster in many other societies. I know fewer jobs, less free times. AI is here to replace many functions, but AI is here also to threaten us, but also to enhance our life. So we are in the great divide at the moment, and also there will be many hybrid versions of this. We are better to be aware of this. And what is sure in the end that the jobs require higher and up-to-date education. So employees need to respond quickly. Society needs to support employees in transition of employment, and how Finland is trying to respond to this. So of course, digitalization is absolutely the baseline here, and more agile education system too. So I'm really happy to show a lot of excellent examples in Professor Cynthia Leto's talk. That was excellent to see all these systems and all these examples. So, and what is sure that 50% of the Finnish population have to have the higher education graduation. So this is a less challenging goal if you see that Finland is only 5.5 million people and a quite homogeneous society in several sense, and it's also the background is very good to reach this result, but still it's a very challenging goal, you can imagine. And digital education absolutely will play a key role also reaching this result. So what is happening right now, that the minimum school leaving age is raised up already to 18 years. And you can see a little diagram of what's how the big picture on the system is looking like, and where we want that 50% of population ending up on different ways, different pathways. So it's a very difficult time. Of course, I don't need to spare many words about that. These challenges are shared all over the world, what caused by COVID. But what we can see that Finnish society, at least up to this point, responded to the crisis largely successfully, thanks for enhanced work of educators and also the very strong learning infrastructure what has been developed in the recent decades. But we also saw those points that these critical needs must be catered, like supporting many systems, and this rapid transition to digitally supported education is not easy, and also the challenge of the face-to-face contact, the physical contact, and learning in community, as the previous talk was also pointed out. This is really a shared challenge here. And there are many challenges connected to the innovation and social interactions. So there are many tendencies which helping to respond to this even independently of what's happening in COVID. So this blockchain in education and this AI-empowered educational systems with all these opportunities are being already in the focus right much before than the COVID struck in. So we try to also test these systems in these circumstances. And what's happening in the daily world of education, that might be interesting for you to see that how the Finnish schools are moving to a less hierarchical and more networked model of leadership. And this is very important because here you can see these many different specialists who are taking part in the school life and responding actually different challenges through their professional focus. and we want to have much better connection between them. Their networked capabilities need to be enhanced, and this is what we try also with the innovation, with technology. So how to work for the sociality, so pro-social attitudes need to be enhanced, and you can see how many leadership skills, attitudes are needed to be combined in this, and how technology can support this. This is absolutely big question here, and also it's a great question, big challenge, that the collaboration between teachers, even in Finland, where teachers are pretty collaborative, pretty pro-social, they have the practice, the daily practice of sharing and also to work in collaborative projects, and this is also part of our curriculum, but still it's really a long way to go to enhance this. And why it's also important on the epistemological level, because if we want to support these formats of multidisciplinary collaboration, or trans or inter or cross disciplinary collaboration, that's definitely not a one-man show, but it's a collaborative activity. And this motivation and joy of learning, which was also a central topic in your call, joy of learning, as you can see, this is really in the core of the whole Finnish curriculum. And you can see also that how this cross-cutting perspectives of assessment and support for learning and learning environments have to be based and have to be pointed to this joy of learning core and motivation. And also it's all packed or wrapped up by this transversal competence development, and subjects are still there, but they are really meant to support this complex system here. So it's a competence-based curriculum. As many of you know, the Finnish curriculum, you can see these main competence areas which are in the current curriculum. We could talk a lot about each of them also in terms of this conference, so I have no time to stop here, but I just want to mention that it's actually not true that there are no any more subjects in Finland. There are subjects, but phenomenon-based learning and transversal competence development is really the goal of this subject. So this is not anymore this siloed learning. That is not expected that you are mastering only in this and that, especially in basic education, but you need to see the connections between these areas, and that's why interaction and also student interest and creative thinking, problem solving, and understanding different viewpoints is absolutely important goal. It's even more important than learning facts, for example, and memorizing a lot of information. So to get the skill to how to learn facts, if you need to learn facts, and also how to explore connections creatively. That's the main point in basic education. And after all, to support joyfulness of learning, and also that each student feel that they are represented and authorized and also recognized in every segments of the learning procedure. And that's why we think that also the digital technology need to be able to respond this need, and here come a lot of challenge. So what is happening now, that all these roles are changing. So teachers' role, students' role, the learning process is transforming, and multiple creativities coming into play. I wanted to stress this S, because we tend to talk about creativity as a singular noun, though we know from practice as well that there are many different creativities exist. And that need to contribute to this creative ecology. And just these are very small, but maybe you can see some of these different creativities, and also how these circular systems need to be kept dynamic and kept this flow also in micro communities and also macro level. That's key importance here. And also I mentioned already the competence-based learning. This is a European Union perspective as well. And there is a lot of correspondence with the European Union educational policy and the Finnish educational policy, where the core is the human being as a citizen. So I have no really time to go into this, but we have also a lot of material and a lot of programs supporting this everyday creativity for teachers. And many of these programs are focusing to provide help to any teachers around the world. I will also share these links after my talk, so you can get free access to this material, and also some digital tools where you can do some self-assessment as well, and then start your own learning path if you are interested to do it. And also this connection between creativity and innovation, and the difference between creativity and innovation, this is also need to be stressed, but again, this is something I don't have too much time to go into that. But you can see, at least in this table, that how the perspectives of knowledge, skills, and attitudes, values, ethics are very, very, very comprehensively combined, very complexly combined in this perspective. So it's a very sensitive area. So to see more this in practice, if you read the Finnish curriculum, it exists in English. I really recommend to all of you to read it. By the way, that's unfortunately not free, but I'm really sorry about it. It's like it has some cost, but anyway, that I tell you some main things about it if you have no time to read or no opportunity to download this. So creativity is mentioned more than 100 times. However, innovativeness mentioned less than 10 times. So it's an interesting thing that how the focus seems to be more on the imagination, discovery, and this side of the inventions, and a bit less on the technical and sort of product motivated views, which innovation need to be understood. So. But it seems that also that there is no definition of creativity and innovation, but the local teachers, for example, are encouraged to set up their own definition and to have their own understanding together with the students. So there is also this great authority provided for the local teachers. And you can see that how if we project these perspectives on the competence framework, you can see also how these different competencies are breaking down this very complex question, but here also the local interpretation of what the joy of discovery means, what creative work means in different communities, how you use the imagination. That's very much left actually to the teachers, which means not only the opportunity, of course, not only the endless world of possibilities, but also the endless world of challenges here. So we're just recognizing that how important is the professional development for teachers. So CML's many leaders like Dr. Sumar Diono and Farida Nur Hashanah been keynote speakers in this conference a few months ago in Finland. And if I have time, I would like to use some minutes to quote a very important speaker, also another very important speaker from this conference, Andreas Schleicher, who talked about creativity. And you know that he's the founder of PISA assessment, and also he's a director of this very strongly influential policy institute, OECD. And I think it's important what he say. So let me try to share a video from him. Just a moment. I need to check where it is. Yes, it's here. And now I need to start a new share. And how can I get it here? Yes, I try to share the sound. And here we go.
Now schools need to use the potential of technologies to liberate learning from past conventions and connect learners in new and powerful ways with sources of knowledge, with innovative applications, and with each other. In the past, the policy focus was on providing education. Now it needs to be on outcomes. Shifting from looking upwards in the bureaucracy to looking outwards to the next teacher, to the next school, and the next education system. And the challenge is that such system transformation cannot just be mandated, which just leads to surface compliance, nor can it be built solely from the ground up. Government has a key role to play as platform and broker, of stimulator, of enabler. It can focus resources, create a facilitative policy climate, and use accountability and reporting to encourage new practice. But education also needs to better identify key agents of change, to champion them, and to find more effective approaches to scaling and disseminating innovations. We spend too much time pushing ideas into schools and too little time finding the good ideas in classrooms and scaling them and spreading them. And that's also about finding better ways to recognize, reward, and give exposure to success. To do whatever is possible to make it easier for innovators to take risks and encourage the emergence of creative ideas. And to encourage that, public policy needs to inspire and enable innovation and identify and share best practice. And all of that needs to be built on trust. Trust in educational institutions, in schools, in teachers, in students, in communities. In all public services, trust is an essential part of good governance. Successful schools will always be places where great people want to work, and where their ideas can be realized, where they are trusted, and where they can put their trust. But again, trust cannot be legislated. That's why it is so hard to build into traditional administrative structures. Trust is always intentional. It can only be nurtured and inspired through healthy relationships, and also through constructive transparency. And last but not least, education needs not just to look forward, but also look outward. The difference between education systems that are open to the world and ready to learn with others, and those that feel threatened by being exposed to alternative ways of thinking and working, is likely to be a key differentiator in the educational progress that we're going to see around the world. The world has become quite indifferent to tradition and past reputation, quite unforgiving to frailty and ignorant of custom or practice. Success will go to those individuals and nations that are swift to adapt, slow to complain, and always open to change. I hope here in Helsinki you will help education systems rise to this challenge and ensure that we educate the next generation for their future, not our past. Thank you very much.
All right, this was a very long quote, but I hope that you agree with me that it was worth to share. And also in the conversations with OECD's leaders in this conference, which I mentioned, with Dr. Sumardiono and Farida Noor Hashanakh, we come to the point that regaining the trust and rebuilding the trust and maintaining the trust and creativity, that's definitely something what innovation should also support, and the post-COVID era need to focus very, very deeply and fundamentally. So to get back to the math, so you can see creative mathematical thinking and problem solving is sorry, maybe I shared my slides again. So it's a very important also in the subject level in Finland, and also you can see where, for example, creativity is not even mentioned. So that's also important. But to see this authority of teachers and how they can respond to their students' needs together with their students, I would like to share with you another video. Let me see. It's coming from a Finnish classroom, and I need to try a new share. Yes, it will be here. And I would like, as long as you cannot visit here, but I definitely would like to invite you to this classroom. Yes, so it's definitely not the end of the classroom culture and the classroom-based world. As you can see, there are many important things what you can really do in the physical space. And I think when we talk about innovation, we must always think that how we can also provide these experiences in also in hybrid formats and also in different means. So this is a basic value also in our experience workshops, activities, when we try to build up these innovative practices together with other experts and children from all around the world in different cultures. So as you can see here, also this physical proximity has been really important. And another project, it's a STEAM project where students built different instruments and developed their own notation system. So this was also with the collaboration of a physics teacher and music teacher and mathematics teacher with all the measurements, and of course crafts teacher. So in the time of maker spaces, we tend to forget about the importance of crafts, not only digital learning, but crafts, hands-on learning in schools and how it's combined with computers. So that was a very interesting experience. Maybe I can share this video link to you in the conversation. We have no time to watch it. So what's happening now that we know from the 20th century science that indeterminacy, undecidability, uncertainty is how became important as a scientific concept. But we maybe still have a picture on science that it's need to give answers, and we just feel it much stronger in this very critical period of the COVID, that we have this expectation to tell us the answers. But we can also see in the same time that probably in the epistemological level, science is maybe not supposed to give the answer, but maybe to have better and better questions and to ask more and more important questions. So, and this uncertainty factor is very essential also in inquiry-based learning, in discovery-based learning, experience learning, playfulness. So we need to make a very visible line between the psychological uncertainty, what we feel as an individual in these times, and also the very necessary scientific and epistemological uncertainty. And this latter need to be definitely part of the learning culture also when learning mathematics, and this need to be probably eliminated in the system. But this is also the culture of possible to make failures as well, and many related things. So my students in the teacher education also switched into making digital materials, but they could trust with their students. I will also share this link with you, you can try it. And also what we learned from about COVID as a geometrical structure that was part also our mathematical explorations, geometrical explorations. And also if you think about computational thinking and algorithmic thinking, that what to do in an emergency situation, as children also learned how to think systematically about this, or how to eat candy safely in COVID circumstances, and they could draw an algorithmic method for that. Or another teacher of ours, together with their students with GeoGebra, they designed geometrically these face shield holders, and they 3D printed it and delivered to the local emergency staff in the hospital. But we can see this potential in the STEAM, that responding to this critical situation and problem solving critical situation. You can see also in the SEOMEO activities that as long as I wasn't able to travel there, but at least this hybrid workshop with the help of many of you who are here today now, it was a wonderful experience, and still it was a very groundbreaking experience to see the collaboration potentials. And this also happening with children in hybrid learning. So this school was with 500 children, a lockdown school in Transylvania, but we made the celebration of Day of Mathematics in this hybrid form. So, and this is what is happening also with lifelong learning 4.0, 5.0. So how the new society, how the new models of technology enhanced societies can also not only enhance the amount of threats, but also the common good. That's really important, especially when we can see, for example, in children's drawings, children artwork. This is an ongoing project in South Africa, where we have children's, many thousands of children joining all schools in South Africa, almost involved in this, even the poorest schools, to make mathematical art and draw and paint mathematical art. And you can see how their experiences are very quickly, very directly depicted and expressed in this very complex language of mathematics combined with art. And also their complex thoughts are here as well, and also their local cultural background, many references, and the joy of learning after all. So I had also a little exercise for us to interpret these artworks, but I think I run out of time, so I feel better to save time for the Q&A section. But you can see also this deep reflection also of the social situation, and also how math art connections can also express very strong human political statements, if you want, and how the authority of the students, how their own image is also depicted in this mathematical artwork, and also sustainable thinking. So everything is here, basically, what you want to work with, everything is here, what you want to investigate, it's there provided by your students. So I really want to encourage you to be brave and to be sure to be uncertain in many opportunities, and let these colors grow out of your children, your students' imagination, and don't look at imagination, or don't look at some unperfect expression according to scientific standards as your enemy, but look at them as your resource, what you can build joyfulness and engagement and innovation, and most of all, creativity in your classroom. So thank you so much for your attention. I would like to close with this, which is also a common experience of many learners. I tend to look at math as a monster, so I express that in my artwork. Thank you so much, and I wish you a really fruitful conference. I was really happy to be here with you. I'm sorry that I exceeded my time a bit, and I will share the links in the chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Christoph, for your very inspiring talk. Actually, we have one question from the attendee. It's from Elina Vadatu Istikoma, which is very interesting question. I was wondering if I can invite Elina Vadatu Istikoma to ask the question herself to for Dr. Christoph, because I cannot send a message directly to her. Dika, can I invite Elina Vadatu Istikoma to ask question? I'm going to share the slide of the question.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I will look at that.
Okay. I will share the screen.
It's here also. Yeah, I try to read it.
Is it there now? Okay.
Yeah.
I have to show the full screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
Yeah, this is also a comment. You want me to read it out or just read it silently and I try to answer?
Actually, I would like to invite Elina.
Yes, yes, I know.
Elina here?
Mr. Eko, could you please invite Miss Elina Vadatu Istikoma to be the panelist, please?
To be the panelist, okay.
Okay.
Hold on. I show this first.
Yes, already in the panelist.
Okay, already in the panelist.
Already on the list.
Okay, she's already in the panelist.
Okay. So Elina, would you ask your question yourselves? So you can. Sorry, here is here.
Okay. I'm Elina. I'm from Indonesia.
Hello. Nice to meet
you. Nice to meet you.
Hello.
It's alright to meet you here.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question. For some advanced material like limit, integral, and the others are a little bit harder to make contextual problems, right? So the student may learn that in university, but some of them may not be able to do that because some vocational school students, because I teach in vocational school,
yes,
they prefer to seek a job than learn in university. So for the problem-based learning, we're not able to relate them to material with contextual problem. Maybe STEAM approach is an innovative learning, so it could be a way to solve it, because STEAM approach make mathematics able to collaborate with other subjects, but it has no exact standard how to apply that in general. Like I mean, school in this country, because we were not usually use it, apply that in our learning. So it's a bit harder, especially for students while they still didn't acknowledge mathematics and engineering that embed in science. Please give us some advice how to deal with it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you. That's very complex reflection and very important question. And actually, what is very important that STEAM is not a method. Like also, I dare to say that STEM is not a method. These are policies, and these are the policies for integration. So it's actually STEM and STEAM can have a lot of methods, can have a lot of approaches integrated. And this is what these integrations call you to connect different approaches and different methods. And definitely that's a very important aspect here, that through the integration, you can even introduce those questions or problems which are really not basic school level problems or questions like university, as you mentioned, but also it can be like out of school context, which is definitely not part of any curriculum, but part of our everyday life. And here comes the help of the integration. And as I mentioned, that collaboration with other teachers are also key to not only with other subjects, but with other teachers who are specialists of these subjects to provide this joint vision. And there are very good examples also for lesson plans or examples of project learning. I shared with you a Korean collection. I will put here the title. You can download it, and there is also a very interesting standardized framework for this if you need this kind of help, so you can take a look.
Thank you very much. Hello, you hear me?
Yes, I hear. Yes, I hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
I didn't hear myself, so I was wondering. So thank you very much for the question. I think we have more question coming in. So I read the question to you then. Let me ask. This from Didi Kwanivan. He or she asked about the curriculum implementing during the COVID-19. Since our school have a normal curriculum before COVID-19, and as Finland has national core curriculum, as you explained at your presentation, did your country implemented full of national core curriculum as a normal situation, or reduce some of it? If you reduce several of it, can you give us a little bit, explain how do you do that? Thanks.
Well, this is really hard to answer, because what I try to point out that the autonomy of teachers is really maximized in Finland. I mean, as much autonomous as possible. And actually, they supposed to, the teachers supposed to transform even daily learning material to respond to their students' needs. And of course, this is not like that kind of criteria, what means that every teachers are acting like that, because that's also in the system that there are also different teacher characters, and they are as they are. And but actually, according to the curriculum, they supposed to adapt to different situations. So my assumption here, though I don't have any kind of research data to respond to this question, I'm sure that this is exists, and this could be a very good research question to see the effectivity of this curricular prescription here, that how much they went less aligned to the daily plans, and how effectively they changed everyday plans. But my answer would be yes. They put away a lot of those performance-based, performance-focused learning materials. And sorry, it's coming from my window, this noise. There is construction work here going on. So they put away most of those and try to handle these everyday challenges to keep every student involved. So the main challenge was to don't leave anyone behind, and don't left anyone excluded, even of technology or family background or learning challenges. That was the main care of the teachers.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a third question from Arifin, a short one. How to improve teachers and students' creativity and spirit in Finland so that we can apply in Indonesia? Okay, that's a good question. I recommend to everyone, actually. Like I tend to not give any kind of general advice, but in this time I dare to make it that try to look for really low threshold directions where as more students can respond. Even if you have the lack of time because of curriculum pressure, because of any kind of expectational pressures, try to keep at least a very small time, what's possible, as much as possible, maybe just even a very small time, when you have a very low threshold creative idea, like this children math art challenge, which I shown you. Of course, as you could see, that these children worked a lot on these artworks, but they could do it in their free time, and they were happy to do it. And actually, everybody could do it, because at least to some colors, to some pencils, even black and white, they managed to get access to. So it was a low threshold activity. And let children express themselves in this low threshold activity, and try to link it, try to connect it with your learning material. So as you could see, this math art challenge went away from math. It was really math content coming here. And don't only be just very happy and admire these artworks. First of all, give appreciation to every student who took even a small amount of time to show something from his work. Even the artwork won't be that very aesthetically developed as many of these as I've shown, but give appreciation to all of these, and take some time to see what you can learn from this, what surprised you, and what you can use also in the most pressured time when you need to align with the curriculum. So this would be my baseline advice. Thank you very much. We have two participants raising hand, perhaps for question. First one would be from Maud Hanafi Branuddin. So I allow you to talk to Dr. Christoph. Are you there now? Perhaps he's not there now. We have another participant, Yusuf. Yusuf also raised hand, so I give you permission to talk. Yusuf, are you there?
Mr. Sohananto, could you please move Mr. Yusuf to be the panelist so he can talk to Dr. Christoph directly?
Yes. Okay, I'm already in the panelist.
Thank you so much.
Hello.
Please be brief. We have only a few minutes left. Okay, thank you.
I don't hear if someone is talking. Sorry.
Not yet.
Okay.
I think they have to invite.
Yeah, sure. Sorry.
To the no problem. The panelist. Is he here, Mr. Yusuf? Well, while waiting, I would like to summarize what you just
thank you.
Just said. So thank you very much for the wonderful talk, and we see now how creativity is important in mathematics learning. Actually, it's a kind of a new element that will help those students that may not be more to art rather than mathematics. And as in the past, we have a kind of a divide between, okay, the students more into art, the students into mathematics. Now in this kind of class, both students can enjoy being creative, being a problem solver to tackle the problem with the mathematics knowledge, and especially when they work together as a team, that would help enhance the learning. So thank you very much for your talk. So can we invite them for the question?
Thank you much. Thank you very much, Professor Maindoang.
No problem.
I agree with you.
Unfortunately, we're running out of time. So for those attendees who raise hand to ask question, maybe you can we'll ask the question by email. Would you mind drop in your email?
Of course, I put my email here.
If any other participants has a question, they can ask you directly.
Yeah.
So,
please contact me. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and so on.
Okay,
so please add me as a friend, and we can chat there. Thank you.
Okay,
thank you a lot for
thank you
everything.
very much for
Thank you
today,
so much.
and hope to see you in next opportunity.
Of course.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Dr. Christophe Nifezi and Dr. Alongkot Maiduang. Please give applause to them for the nice topics for this afternoon. Thank you so much. Okay, well, dear ladies and gentlemen, now we will have the third keynote speaker from Professor Matthias Ludwig, and he will be led by the Miss Desinta Puspa Ayu Dwi Argaswari from Sampurna University. Okay, before start the session, let me inform you the short biography of Miss Desinta. Miss Desinta began her career as educator by teaching secondary level students at Binus International School Serpong and Focus Independent School Surakarta. After pursued her master's degree at Universitas 11 Maret or UNS, Desinta started to teach students in university level at Sampurna University, handling courses such as planning and evaluation, micro-teaching, calculus, mathematics for business, linear algebra, and others. She is interested in the field of teacher development, teaching with technology, mathematics development skills, especially in geometry and history of mathematics. Her concern on mathematics education led her to participate in community services and deliver a training for teachers in collaboration with other institutions, such as Ikatan Guru Indonesia, or IGI, MGMP Wonogiri, Microsoft Indonesia, Person Education. Her paper on teaching geometry using the Van Hill model has been met with approval at international conferences. Well, ladies and gentlemen, to start the agenda, I call Ms. Desinta. to chair the session of Professor Matthias Ludwig.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dika.
Thank you very much.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Desinta, and I will be the moderator for this keynote address 3. On this beloved afternoon, we have Professor Dr. Matthias Ludwig as our keynote speaker. Before the session begins, please allow me to read his short biography. Professor Matthias Ludwig holds a master's degree as a teacher for mathematics and physics for lower and upper secondary school in 1994. He has taught in schools for more than 8 years. During his time as a teacher, he finished his dissertation at the University of Würzburg in 1997. After a few years as an assistant at the University of Würzburg, he worked from 2002 until 2011 as a full professor for mathematics and mathematics education at the University of Education in Weingarten, Germany. And since March 2011, he is full professor for mathematics education at Goethe University in Frankfurt. His area of research includes mathematics education in China, project-based learning, space geometry, mobile learning, new technologies, and modeling and application. Professor Dr. Matthias Ludwig keep in touch with Chinese researchers since 2002 when the Han Seidel Foundation sent him to several weeks lasting in service teacher education to China. 2 years later, he was the founder of a bilateral cooperation between PH Weingarten and Zhejiang International Study University founded by the MOE. Later, he held 2 guest lectureships in Shanghai at East China Normal University, Shanghai, from August to September 2005 and April to July 2007, founded by the DAAD. And then in 2010, Matthias Ludwig was responsible for the first Sino-German Symposia on mathematics education, which was carried out in Shanghai, Beijing, and Hong Kong. He was also guest lecturer at Monash University, Australia in 2012, and the Rhodes University, South Africa in 2017 and 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, with this excellent background and professionalism, we can see that today we have a great keynote speaker who will deliver the topic entitled Using Digital Technologies for Sustainable Mathematics Teaching in the New Normal. But then, before the session begins, please allow me to remind everybody about the protocol of the session. The keynote speakers will present the topic for 40 minutes, and after that, followed by 20 minutes question and answer. During the session, participants may leave their question on the Q&A feature in the Zoom. So you may write the question on the Q&A box. It's located on the below of your Zoom. And then after that, in the Q&A session, the selected participant will be given a chance to ask questions directly. Okay, without further ado, I will start the session by inviting our speaker, Professor Dr. Matthias Ludwig. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much for this. And I will share my screen. Okay, so my job is today to tell you something about digital technology for mathematics education in the new normal. And I ask you to install 2 apps. Perhaps you know these 2 apps, but I'm not sure. They are free. They are without any advertisement. And so please install the apps. The one is Mass City Map. Perhaps somebody of you know this app. I presented when I was in Yogyakarta 4 years ago, I think so. And also please install the app PhotoMath. It's also a free app, and it's very useful because I will show you something about this app today. Okay. During you install the app, I start my lecture, and you will find the app very easily in the app stores. Even if you have an Android or an iOS phone, it doesn't matter. Both systems are running those apps. Okay, my talk today is about using digital technologies for the sustainable mathematics teaching in the new normal. You see a lot of logos here: Asymptote, MathCityMap, Maske, and Erasmus. And yeah, you need a lot of partners and project money to run out the projects I will present you today. And of course, you cannot do it alone. Yes, this is my current team. Yes, unfortunately, some of them will leave me next because they make their doctorate or they get a baby or another good job. Yes, because it's normal that at the university, young people only stay for a short time and then they leave me again. So, but that's life. But without those guys, all the projects and all the results I present were not possible. Yes, and this is the old MCM team, MathCityMap team, and you see on the left, yeah, here you see Adi Nukayono. Adi Nukayono was a doctoral student of mine, and yes, he fulfilled his doctorate very successfully at my university in new technologies. Yes, and it was about MathCityMap 2. So perhaps he will present something in a short talk in this conference. So what means sustainable mathematics education? What is a new normal, and what means use of digital technologies? So sustainable mathematics education. This means for me needs little resources in time and energy for operation of the mathematics classes. Yes, because then I have a lot of time to care about the students and a lot of time to care about a good task. And of course, we should use only little fossil resources, so not so much paper, perhaps, not so much energy. Yes, but for me, it means also that you generate, as a teacher, you generate long-lasting knowledge. Yes, so if you teach students something and they forget it after 5 weeks, then it's not necessary to teach them anything. Yeah, so sustainable mathematics education is the most important aspect forever. What means use of digital technologies? So it means that to use only digital technologies that helps to reach the goal of sustainability. Yeah, so if the digital technology don't help you to reach that goal, is it not really necessary? Yes, and it's also very important. That's the second thing. When it's helpful, then it should also be available for every student. It makes no sense to use special virtual reality glasses, yes, or something like that, because not every student can use it. So it should be this digital technology should be low or no cost and widespread. Yes. So as you see, a smartphone, nearly everybody have now. Yes, I know that also in Indonesia, nearly every student have perhaps a smartphone. Yes, and that's we care about. And what is the new normal? So the new normal is that because we don't know what the corona crisis will done in the next weeks or months or years. Yes, and so you should be able to switch very fast between face-to-face classes and online classes. Yes, so in Germany, from one day to another, we have remote teaching. So, and the teacher are not prepared on that, not at all. not at all everywhere in the world. Yeah, so this should be teach the young teacher students that they have to switch, that they are able to switch very fast between face-to-face classes and online classes. And if there's a moderate thing, yes, of this corona pandemic, that you have to teach outdoor, then you have to be aware of the alternatives like outdoor education. Yes, especially in mathematics, there are a lot of possibilities to teach the students outdoor. Okay, but another thing, do you know Daniel Jung? Of course not. It's a German guy, and this German guy, he called himself new learningpreneur, math rock star. Yes, and he if you type something about mathematics inside, the first thing you get from Google is Daniel Jung, because he creates a lot of videos about mathematics content. Yes, you only find him. That's incredible. Yes. So why is this possible? Because he produced videos since 2011, and the videos are simply and expediently produced, not unlike other very expensively produced content you will find on YouTube. But it's very telecolic, it's very old-fashioned. Yeah. So, and unfortunately, it's didactically and methodologically not valuable. He creates more than 2,500 videos, more than 600,000 subscribers only in Germany. Yes, and he has his fans. So even the teachers don't like these videos, but he has a lot of fans because the students don't have to read.
Professor Ludwig, sorry, we lost your voice.
Videos of educational videos. Yes, I get this graph from Matthias Bettel, a colleague of mine, and he said that it's an exponential growth of the videos on YouTube. Yes, and the red bar, you see, these are the amount of educational videos. It seems not a lot, but it's a lot of videos. Yes, and you have to know that 3 channels, 3% of the 3% of the channels uploaded 28% of all content, and this 28% of all content gets 85% of all views. So 97% of the rest only get 15% of all views. So really a lot, really a little only. And you see, when YouTube started in 2006, yes, you can estimate that 10,000. When you upload a video, you can estimate that you have 10,000 views on your video. Now, when you upload a video, you can estimate only to have 89% of your video. And it's not the arithmetic median, it's a median. Yeah, this means half of all the videos in the net only have 89 views. That's incredible. As the half of all amount of all the videos uploaded only have 89 views. That's crazy. So you really have to think about what kind of content you have to upload. So, but what do we know about the use of YouTube videos with educational content? How do the students with this video, how use these learning videos on YouTube, and how the videos are used? And first, the videos are watched. That's clear. And the videos are used as a reference material like Wikipedia. Students often watch videos very superficially, and they usually think they have understood everything, yeah, because they look at the video and they think, oh, fine. Yeah, but it's not like that. At the end, the content presented in the video is not penetrated. They don't understand it. Young people are used to doing other things while watching videos on YouTube. Perhaps you see it with your students. Yeah, they have the phone and then this and this, and sometimes they have 3 screens. Yes? And they may not change this behavior even when watching educational videos. And that is a problem. Yes. And these students who came to university often still have insufficient skills in independent learning with videos. So we don't know if a video really is good for learning. A doctoral student of mine, Sina Wetzel, she published a very interesting study in her last book. And it shows that the students who watch these videos are older students, okay? Not the youngest. It starts from grade 9, yes, and then it goes up to grade 12 and 13. 13 are the oldest students in Germany, okay? And what is the mathematics score the students have? Yes. So, I mean, we think videos are good for all students, and that all students will use these videos to become a better mark in mathematics. But at the end, it's the same as with books. Yes. Not all bad students look at videos. They are the good students because they are interested in those videos. They want to know about more mathematics. So these videos don't help us to teach students better. That's really a problem. We do also some research about remote teaching. It was with Simon Barlowitz, Simone Jablonski, and me, and some Spanish guys. And we found out that in the emergency remote teaching phase, this emergency remote teaching phase was shortly after the Corona pandemic in March, April 2020 starts. Yes, and the teacher has to switch very fast into this remote teaching phase, in this mode. And you see the task assignment was done by emails, video conferences, learning platforms, synchronous and asynchronous. And see that the Spanish teacher are much more familiar with asynchronous learning platforms than German teachers. They are not familiar with that. Yes. And so they really use a lot of technology. Yes. And some Spanish teacher really use mail or something other for task assignment. The task discussion, so after the task was done, was solved by the students, was also sometimes made by email, but much more on video conferences. Yeah, so video conference should be very, very strong tool for emergency remote teaching. And what is also shown is the frequency of synchronous teaching in Spain. During the emergency remote teach phase in Spain, there was only 31% who use this synchronous teaching in every lesson. Yeah, after this so after 1 year, the students also cannot go to school, but the teacher changed their technique. They changed the technology and use much more. Nearly half of them use in every lesson synchronous teaching phases. This means that the teacher is in front of the screen and the students are at the same time also in front of the screen, and they teach in that way. Yes? This was not normal during the first time of the pandemic. Yeah. So there was a shift. Yes. And we want to help the students as the teachers to fulfill this shift in a much better way. I will show you now a tool which is very interesting for online teachers. This tool is called Photomath. Yes. So, and math superpower for every student. It is really incredible what this software can do. Yes, more than 2 billion of math problems is solved by this app. More than 220 million app downloads. And I will show you this app here. So I start photo math. Okay, you had a camera. So now you see the screen 3 times, and it's very nice effects you can do. And I wrote a very easy equation here, okay? You see this equation? 5x minus 4 equal 18, okay? And now I like it to scan, and it solve it. Yes, the solution is 4, as you see. Show me how. You can have a video, or you see also solve the equation, and you can show me solving steps. Okay, good. Then you see here's the solving steps. And then you also can have some explaining steps. Okay. But of course, this was an easy one. Yes. So I add something. Okay, I make an equation system, and all of this works. Okay. So what is the problem now with it? You also can show the solving steps and so on. Yeah. And it's really interesting. And of course, you can have functions. Okay. Function is also possible. Yes. Okay, it's also possible. I hope my writing is okay. Yes, it's okay. So in that way, then you have functions. Okay. It also accepts this. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Okay. And it's a lot of find the derivation. Okay, you also can have. So now what is the problem? The problem is that now students can do their online homework by this software. Okay. So, and it will, and the software explain how to solve, and all this is done by the software. So how can you use this to do mathematics? So you need another culture for posing questions. Yes, that's the thing to use this app. Okay, but let's go back to Corona and outdoor learning. I mean, when you go outside, the Corona infection risk is very, very low. Yes, so this means being outside the classroom is safer than inside the classroom. Yes, and when the sun is outside, it's much better. So in Indonesia, I know it's a lot of sun outside. Yeah. So a study about education outside tells us but that the teacher have less confidence in that, less safety, less time, less money, no support from school, everything, and makes sense. Yeah, so the teacher don't feel good, and when you don't feel good, you will not make it. That's clear. Yeah, and both is coming from a lack of education in the university, because at universities the students don't know about nothing about outdoor education. Yes, there was only theoretical education, how you can do outdoor education, but no really practical experiences. So, but at my university, there's a change. Yes, and this offset reports fill the subject with life and more interesting for students. Outdoor learning supports understanding. Is it helpful for underachievers? We don't know at that moment. Outdoor learning enables the transfer from school to real situations. So that's what school is for, to learn for your own life. Yes, and it promotes motivation. This we find out, and this find out Adi Nurkayono from Indonesia in his doctoral thesis, that outdoor education promotes motivation. Yes, and self-efficacy and cooperation and independence. So let us show you now the MathCityMap project. I present something of that 4 years ago, but the project is going on more and more. Yes, so it's a It's a two-component system, a portal and an app. And the basic ideas of the MathCityMap app that you can find tasks everywhere in the world, yeah, on every continent. And if you want to, you can go down and down and down and down and zoom in. And then you can look, okay, this is my area. I want to show what tasks are there. Then you can click on one of these pin and then have a look on this task. Okay. Yeah, so this, you see the light blue one, and this is the light blue one task. You can see and you can have a look. Okay, done. The tasks are designed in that way that you only can solve it in the front of the related object. Yeah, so if you see this rolling stone, you have to determine the weight. You have no idea because you don't know exactly the material and the dimension of this object. So you have to be in front of the object to solve the task. Very positive is that everybody can join the MathCityMap community and be part of the family, the Montmartre family and the Maske family. Yes, we have now more than 8,800 teachers who joined the community, and we have more than 26,000 tasks in this system. They all created by those teachers, not by us, but by those teachers. So now I will go to the app. Okay, the basic idea of the app, you can download a math trail, not even all these tasks, but only a math trail on your phone. Yeah, you can when you are in the situation that students don't have a phone, you also can use an automatic generated PDF file. Okay, and hints can request it from the app. That's the most different thing between app and a PDF. Yes, so you can ask for hints if you don't know how to solve the problem. Yes, and so you can ask for hints. And then another thing is you get a feedback on your solution directly. Yeah, you type in something and then it's okay, it's perfect or not perfect, but okay. With the paper version, you don't get this feedback. It's also perfect for absolute beginners. We have created an onboarding screen. Yes, search and discover. Yes, and it means also do mathematics and check the answer. This is a typical onboarding thing. But we said teachers are not so confident when their students are outside, when they lose their educational control about their students. So we create this digital classroom. Yeah, it's a perfect tool. We have 4 elements. We have the task monitor, the chat, the event monitor, and the geolocation. This means I know exactly which students have solved which task. Yes, the green bullets are tasks solved by the students. The blue bullet is where the students are. The gray bullet means this task was skipped, and the yellow bullet means this task was solved okay, but not perfect. We have also on the left side a chat. So the students can chat with the teacher, but they cannot chat between them, not in our system. Of course, they can use WhatsApp or WeChat or whatever they use. So I don't know. So the students, but the teacher can see where are the students at this moment. So they can check if they are going right way to the task. And you see that these were very nice students. They don't. They are not runaways and go to a coffee shop and drink some coffee. No, they are really on a task and solves the task. Yes, and you can see exactly what the dream team has done. Yes, solve the task, open the trail card, and so on. We have new features in the app. This means the students can now upload pictures and audios. So some students are a little bit lazy, yes, to type, so they can give us an audio. And this was how it looks like in the web portal when the teacher observes the situation. Okay, so the teacher is in front of his screen and the students are outside. Okay. The new project we created now was because of the Corona crisis. Yeah. Why shouldn't we use this technology to do a adaptive synchronous mathematics learning paths for online teaching in Europe? Yeah, this is our latest project. We have partners from Portugal, from Spain, from Germany, from Greece, and from Italy. Yes, and we really like to bring in all our energy to create a system who fulfill all these requirements. We took the ideas from MCM and MCM at Home together. Yes, and now it's your turn. You should now work on an MCM at Home trail. Yeah, so when you have download the app, okay, I can show you here also. It's perhaps a little bit easier. I can show it. Okay, when you download the MathCityMap app, yeah, you see Adi Nurka unit translated into Bahasa. Yeah, that's fantastic. And now you have to go on Tambakan Trail. Okay. Perhaps you wait for a little bit. Now you have to type in the code. And this is small s 582199. And Tampa. And yes, yes. And you can type in the name, for example, of your group. It could be group 1. And you name Matthias. Okay, now you have to download this trail. And at the end, you have to Mulai trail. And now you can start with your first task. Perhaps you have another first task, okay? Because we can make it that everybody start from a different task. And yeah, so please start. You have 15 minutes, okay? Not more. Because then we go back and then we discuss a little bit about these projects, okay? So have fun for 10, 15 minutes. And I see there's another one, Tim Biru. Very nice. Okay. And you get all the information now from the picture or the text. That's different to the normal MathCityMap app. Here, it's MathCityMap at Home, okay?
Professor?
Yes?
Yeah,
Do you have some questions?
No, you have 10 more minutes. I think the activity should be less than 5 minutes. If you let...
Okay. Yeah, okay. So we have 18 minutes. It's okay for you?
8 minutes, yeah.
18 minutes. But
okay. I don't think so, Prof, because you have only 40 minutes for the...
Okay, so it's up to you when you say we have to stop, because I start later, so I thought I had a little bit more time. Okay, but yeah, we wait. Okay, so I should. So when should I come back, or when should I start my come back to the presentation at 10:45, or is this okay? 10:45.
10:45. Yeah, here
Okay,
is
so
10:45. Yeah, I think that's
okay. Yeah, sorry. Of course, yeah, you're 50:45. Okay, yeah. So okay, yeah. So for all participants, at 15:45, please come back to the presentation, or you can solve the task, of course, even if you listen to my presentation. That is clear. Okay, so now we have a third group here. Yeah, it's very interesting to look on all these groups. Now we have 18 groups online with one student. And yeah, it's really interesting how you solve this task and how you look on this. And of course, these are easy tasks, yes, but sometimes not so easy to read everything, yes. As you see for the task number 2, but Timburu did it in a very good way. Okay, so now I wrote you an email, not an email, but a group, a chat, that you please come back. And yeah, we have questions later. So first, I'm very proud to have a very good partner in Indonesia. Yes, so we do this in Europe, of course, with some partners, but we also need some partners in every part of the world. And then we have a very good partner in Indonesia. And this is the Adi Nurkayono, of course. And he's a founder of the Massitimab Research Center Indonesia at Semarang Pedagogic University. And I'm very happy that he is there and yeah, bring new ideas, especially in augmented reality, to Massitimab. Yeah, and now I want to say thank you very much for listening. And do you have some questions? And if yes, we have now a little bit time, I think. And perhaps see you on asymptoteproject.eu or massitimab.eu. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Ludwig. Now we will have the question and answer session.
Should I stop the sharing of the screen?
Yeah, that's fine, Professor. Okay, the first question I would like to invite Ibu Sri Dewi Mulyaningati to ask the question herself directly to Professor Ludwig. Ms. Dika, can you help to put Sri Dewi Mulyaningati?
Mr. Eko or Mr. Suhananto, could you please move Ms. Sri Dewi Mulyaningati to be the panelist?
Yes, Ms. Dika.
Thank you very much.
She's already in the panelist.
Okay, she's already in the panelist, Miss Deshinta.
Okay. Hello, Ibu Sri.
Hello. Did you hear me?
Yeah. Please, you can ask your question directly to Professor Ludwig.
Okay. Hello, good evening, everyone. Okay, I love this. I just try to install the Photomat. It's very interesting because I am a primary school teacher. So it's very interesting because I think they don't need to think, just use and then they solve already the answer. So my question, is there another application for the storytelling question like that? So they just take the picture and then they solve already like that?
Yeah. Yeah, you have, what you say is right, that when they only use the software Photomath, they should not think, but it's up to you as a teacher to promote other questions. So you cannot give the students a question at 5 numbers or something like that. No, that's not the question anymore. The question is what happens when you add 2 odd numbers, or when you multiply 3 odd numbers, what happens then? So it's more to find out the structure of mathematics. Yes. So what the Photomath can is doing algorithms, but algorithms can do every computer. But mathematics is, of course, doing algorithms, but it's more is to create algorithm and to find new theorems or theorems. Okay. So please do not use the app to teach your students how to calculate. Yeah, but it's more to get an idea of the structure of mathematics. Okay.
Okay, I know, but I thought because some of us have different students, all right. Some of them also lazy. Some of them also maybe with the easier technology, they will be easy to learn. Oh, it's easy. I can just solve this. Make they interesting first with math, and then we can teach slowly about the math. Because the first is they think before they do the job, they already think, oh, math is very difficult. But with this one, oh, it's easy. So and then we can bring them to do this. Is actually, you don't need this technology. You can do it with this way, like that. Maybe we make them interesting first with like this. Okay. I know some of us is very lazy to think. That's why maybe there is another application that there's like because some of us is lazy to read, less literation like that. So maybe you have another application that make them, oh, it's easy. So we can slowly do, because first is we make them too interesting first to learn mathematics like that.
Yeah, no. In that case, I don't have another application. The application's always in that way that they solve mathematics tasks very easily, but you can use our MathCityMap app. Yes, you can, when you go out with your students, you can take photos of a tree or of a palm tree, of an object, but you as a teacher, you have to create the tasks. And that is a little bit, not so easy. You have to be in a group with group of teachers. Yes. So may I ask in which city you are in Indonesia, or in which?
I live in Malang. Hello, Mas Bungkus.
Okay, Semarang. Okay.
Yes, Malang City. You can come if you want it.
when it's possible. Perhaps, yes.
Okay, sure.
Okay, thank you very much for your question.
Okay, thank you too.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Sri Dewi. Next, I will read out the question, Prof. Wait a second, I will share the screen. Okay. Okay. The second question is coming from Ibu Sonia Wulandari. I suppose this is because you mentioned about the risk of corona infection, yeah, Prof. So
yes,
ask why the risk of corona infection is very low on your presentation.
I mean, I said the outside the classroom, the corona infection is very low. Yes, it's much lower than inside because outside the air, the fresh air, put the virus away. Yeah, but that's not if you are in a crowd. If you're too many people, then there's no yes. So the air cannot change. But if you are with a group of 3 students outside in an object, there's no risk. Yeah, it's different when you are in a stadium like yesterday evening in Europe during the European Championships. This is very dangerous. But when you are only with 3 students outside, then there's in Germany there's no corona case where you get an infection when you do a promenade. Yeah, so that's the reason it's very low, the risk.
Okay, so it's actually like the outdoor activities, yeah, Professor.
Yeah, of course. That's the reason we want to go outside, because there the infection is risk is very low.
Probably it will be the best practice after the government stop the emergency situation, because at the moment in Indonesia we have the emergency situation that nobody can go outside.
Yeah, of course. When it's in that way, then you cannot do it. That's clear. I mean, and if you want to be very, you can wear a mask too. Yeah, but when the infection or when the incidence rate is lower than 100, yes, and I don't know if you know about this incidence rate. Yeah, so 100 means that in 1 week, 100 person from 100,000 get infected, and that's a infection rate which is you can reasonably handle. Yes, but I think in Indonesia at this moment it's much higher. Then you have a lockdown. That's clear. But when you are outside, yeah, with only less people, the infection risk is very low. That is what the data that the infection but when you are too much people on a small place, then the infection risk is very high. That's clear, and that's the reason perhaps because I know Indonesia a little bit, not a lot, but you are a lot of people and you like to come together to a lot of people, and that then of course the infection risk is high. But during normal classes, there's no outside. It's not so high.
Very agree, and thank you, Professor. We have one more question.
Please, yes, I wait for this.
Wait a second. To my screen. Okay, the third question is coming from Ibu Sonia Wulandari. Oh, sorry. Ibu Dewi Ranti. In Indonesia, sometimes it's forbidden to use additional aids such as calculator. So is it possible to use the photomat as the additional aids? What do you think about it, please?
No, it's not possible. Especially, or in that case, you pose different questions. As by example, when you have a squared equation like x squared plus 10x minus 5 equals 0, and you ask the students what special condition should the a, b, and c in that formula, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, what special conditions should a, b, and c have that this equation have 2 solutions? And then the students can can try out with this app what are these conditions are, but it's not possible to use this app in a normal test. Okay, so in that case, this app really only helps, or you can pose questions to very good students, because the question, what are the conditions for A, B, and C to have two solutions, is a very hard question. Yeah, so it's only for the good math students. So, and for the lower, for the people who are not so good, they can use this app to help to go on, and that they don't have to ask every time his teacher or her teacher.
Okay, thank you, Professor. We have one more question. It's from Mr. Marlo Melatia. Okay, Mr. You can ask the question directly because you raised your hand.
You have to unmute, please.
Yeah, please
Yes,
unmute.
sir.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for giving me the chance to ask this question personally to you. I congratulate so much your presentation, sir. I was amazed with the presentation because it is my first time to see the said presentation. If only I can bring back myself inside the classroom, I really want to adopt such, but I can use it to share it to other teachers, which I usually visited in some schools, because at this point of time, I am not a classroom teacher. And my question to you, sir, is there another a seminar regarding these digital technologies? Because I really want to immerse myself to learn such app at this point of time.
Yeah, we have some MOOCs, some massive open online courses every year. Yes, last time it was carried out from March to June this year, and it's free of cost. And please check our website on MathCityMap or on Montmartre. Yes, and you can join this MOOC without any costs. Okay, it's of course in English. Yeah, and last time we have more than 500 participants from all over the world. I think some are from Indonesia, perhaps. I'm not sure. And but we will do it again. Yeah, so please check. But I cannot say exactly the date now. Yeah, because it's.
Yes, sir. It is my first time to see the free seminar after 10 years of being in the Sinmayo Kitep. This is my second time attending such seminar. I keep on browsing some free seminars because I want to immerse really myself to Sinmayo, because I really want to be of great help to some teachers who find difficulty regarding mathematics. And in your presentation that you have a while back, I've seen that this is the need of the present situation, wherein when we have a virtual discussion regarding mathematics, we can show this one to our students so that it will be easily understood by them, but not to be used when they will answer a particular summative or assessment test for that one.
Yeah, you're completely right. And when you carried out the MCM at home trail, okay, then you see the measurements are just done. So you only have to take the data. But when you are in the front of the object, the students have to think, what kind of data I have to take. Yeah, and then they have to make their own model in their mind. They have to create their own model about the slope, you know, or whatever. And that's the reason I have to stop my presentation. You have a very strict, but what I want to say, students who carried out a math trail outside, they are, after the math trail, they are not better than students who do the same in the classroom. So I was a little bit disappointed, yeah, because I thought the students are better. They are not better than students who do the same task inside the classroom as the students who do the task outside the classroom. But after the holidays, so 6 weeks ago or 8 weeks ago, we make a follow-up test to these students. And what we find is that the students who learned inside the classroom, they forgot during the holidays.
That's
but
correct,
the
sir.
other students who carried out the task outside, they don't forget.
That's correct.
So this was a sustainability of mathematics education. We are not really have proof of this. We only have some pilot studies. Unfortunately, the Corona crisis stopped us a little bit, but now we are going on and we want to prove it with a large scale study that when students learn outside on real objects, they will not forget it for a long time. And this
Yes,
is
that's correct.
sustainable mathematics education for me.
That's correct. That's correct. So
And when
I'm
you have
very
other
thankful,
questions,
sir. No? So I'm very thankful for the wisdom and the knowledge that you have shared to us
you're
today.
welcome.
And I congratulate you for that. I
May I
hope
ask
there will
from
be
which
an app. I hope there is an app also for figures wherein we can just photo up, then it will
yeah,
solve it. Okay.
no, but that's not the case. I mean, why should an app solve a when you give the app a photo? Why should the app solve something of that? No, what we create is you find an object, by example, a box or a big stone, yes,
Yeah.
who looks like a box, like a rectangular squared solid, and we create generic tasks. So you only have to measure the dimension, type in, and then the app creates the task by yourself. So it's very fast. Yeah. So
That's good.
I have one question to you. From which city you are, when I may ask you? From which city?
Sir, I am from the Philippines, Tuguegarao
Philippines. Okay.
City. Yes, Tuguegarao
Philippines.
City, Tuguegarao City, Cagayan.
Okay. Thank you
Region
very
2,
much.
Philippines.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very
And
much.
to
Thank you.
Dr. Jacinta, thank you very
Yeah.
much. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Professor Matthias, and also Mr. Marlo. But I am so sorry that I have to cut this very interesting discussion due to the limit time. Sorry. I can also see some of the participants, audience also raised their hand, but we are sorry, we cannot continue the
They can.
Yeah.
Sorry, they can post. They can send me the question by
Yes.
email or something when
Yeah.
they like. So they found my email address on the website, or they wrote to info@mathcitymed.eu.
Yeah.
I can type it in
Or
the
would you like,
the
yeah,
chat.
to
Okay.
type your email address on the chat boxes, Professor, so we can have the online discussion with you directly. Okay, then thank you so much. We can see that today's last session is very interesting. I can see there are application also that useful for us as the mathematics educator and mathematics teacher as well. But allow me to wrap up or summarize the session. We can see that the pandemic, the new era begin now, and the students and teacher has to switch their modes of learning into the online learning. And this area, the teacher will help a lot, will use a lot of digital technologies, and these digital technologies has goals to help to reach the goals of the sustainability, and it's has to available for every students, which has the low cost and also widespread. But then for the sustainable learning, the teacher has to use the effective tools to generate the long-lasting knowledge. So it will be the sustainable learning mathematics teaching in the new normal. Okay, I thank you so much for Professor Matthias Ludwig for the presentation, and also for all the audience who are enthusiastic to discuss with us today. I hope that today's session will be beneficial for all the mathematics educator. But please stay safe and healthy. Thank you so much from me. I am Desinta, and now I will return the floor to MC Miss Dika, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Terima
Prof.
kasih.
Matthias Ludwig. Terima kasih. And thank you so much for Ms. Deshinta for sharing his session. Okay, Okay, well, dear participants, that's all the agendas for the international seminar today. Thank you so much for your active participation, and also thank you for all the keynote speakers, moderators, and best practice presenter. We do hope all the participants get the beneficial of this event. And don't forget, tomorrow the international seminar will start at 8 a.m. GMT +7. Please join the meeting room 15 minutes before the event. We do apologize for all the inconvenience today, and stay safe, stay healthy, and stay connected with Sikkim. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye, and thank you so much. Thank you so much. Don't forget, tomorrow we will start at 8 a.m. GMT +7.